Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Got a great broadcast lineup for you this morning. We're going to talk about a topic that mm, could cause some could cause some trouble, could stir up a little something. JD, good morning. Good morning, Vicky Silence. Good morning. Glad to have you all with us. If you are available and you'd like to be a part of this conversation, we definitely would love to have you. Give us a call, 508-924-3524, 508-924-3524. Give us a call, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input on this conversation that we're going to have today. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a real good one. Waiting on everybody to get in with us. And one of the things, make sure that I get hold of for a minute. I got to, y'all excuse me for a second. I did not turn my phone lines on this morning. I may have people trying to call in and can't get through because the phone lines are not up. So let me go ahead on and take care of that little piece of business, and we could definitely move forward. Hold on for a second. Let me see here. Let's take care of that. Vicky, how you doing? Vicky Silence, how you doing this morning?
There are two participants in the conference.
There we
Please announce yourself.
Now we got the phone lines up. We were sitting here. We was Leonard, Captain Leonard. We thought we had everything up, man. Didn't even have the phone lines up this morning. Didn't even have the phone lines up. I was like, man, hold on, man. Something don't feel right. Something don't feel right. I'm missing something. But Captain Leonard, good morning. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning, Raheem, and the Morning Glow family.
Hey man, doing good, man. We're doing good. We got a topic today. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what the topic is. We're gonna talk about and it has a possibility of getting a little heated this morning. But we're gonna talk about there you go. We're gonna talk about unequaled justice, and how that plays in this United States of America and even the world from time to time. But unequal justice, is there a trend of unequal justice that's going on in and around the communities as we know them, as we see it. There's supposed to be a execution, not execution. What do you call it, thing, man? When the state.
That's exactly what you call it, Raheem.
Okay. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead, brother. Take it, because I don't understand, and so many people has come to bat for this young man, and for whatever reason, the governor, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's Texas, but the governor just isn't listening. Oklahoma. Okay, yeah, I knew it was in that vicinity, but execution, man. I mean, it could be very appropriate that we call it an execution. It could be very appropriate.
Why would you call it something else?
Come on, talk to us, Leonard. Talk to us.
Because I don't think people understand the nature of this issue with Julius Jones.
Yes.
And if you are listening right now, I'm going to give you it's just amazing that you would be talking about this today, because I was not aware of what your subject would be or what have today. And this is what happened to be on my mind today.
Wow.
Because he is scheduled to be executed at 4:00.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Julius Jones called the governor's office of Oklahoma, Governor J. Kevin Stitt, 405-521-2342, and let him know he needs to do the right thing.
Give me that number one. Give me that number one more time, Leonard. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Give me that number one more time.
405-521-2342. That is the phone number of Governor Stitt in Oklahoma, who has the power to grant clemency to Julius Jones. And as you said earlier, lots of people have gone to bat for this young man who is claiming his innocence very clearly.
Exactly.
It shouldn't have even gone this far. But whenever it seems that white folks can take the chance to murder blacks when they have the authority to do that, there seems to be a huge problem with their judgment. It should not have taken this long for the governor to do this. Even the parole and pardons board there wants clemency for Julius Jones. So why is this person, some of these people, so intent on killing Julius Jones, who has already been incarcerated for a ridiculous amount of time as well?
Yes, sir.
Now, anybody that supports the execution of Julius Jones, you need to call in today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And see,
you need to call in today because this is an innocent young man convicted of murder. And this is one of the problems with the death penalty, is the fact that we're still executing innocent people. And see, I'm not even against the death penalty, but I am against killing innocent people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And with our history of racism, these executions fall disproportionately on African Americans.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It seems like they will violate all their own rules to do harm to African Americans. It's always a white man that abuses this power. So is the problem with the system or the people running the system?
I lean more towards,
but evidence doesn't matter.
Yeah. I lean more towards it's the people running the system. I don't think the system is perfect. I'm not going to say that the system is perfect. I'm not going to say that, but it has a lot to do with the people that's actually running the system. Why we get in situations like this. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. The phone lines are open right now. Again, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. Leonard, with all the evidence, with all the lack of evidence that they have to convict this man, he's been in prison. I don't know how long he's been incarcerated.
I think about 20 years or so.
And
he's been on death row, actually.
For 20 years.
About 20 years he's been on death row. I think you can go, and I think there is last defense. Viola Davis did a series, I believe, that includes his story.
I'm just,
and it's horrible for us to be making mistakes like this. The death penalty should be reserved for those people who are guilty beyond any reasonable doubt, which no one would ever doubt that they did it. The evidence should be clear that this person was involved when it comes to death penalty, not hearsay. Even in Georgia, when we fought against the death penalty here in Georgia being one of those states that has one of the most ridiculous processes as it relates to the death penalty, where one person has to do is say you did it. And that's not fair. And it's unjust.
Exactly.
Especially when we've noticed with this Ahmaud Arbery murder, where these people they have to defend themselves, but they have no defense in regards to the act because everyone saw it. Now they have to come up with some type of justification for doing it. That's their defense. But in a lot of these cases, for those, particularly like Troy Davis that was here in Georgia,
yes,
where the evidence clearly shows that, hey, we may not want to do this. We may not be right. Any case like that should automatically be removed. the person should be removed from the death row and execution because you don't have sufficient evidence. But how long has the black man been treated this way? Because some white person said you did it, you're executed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Racism is a beast, man. And so I pray for Julius Jones and anyone suffering from the abuse of authority by these type of people. They're wicked. And we need to do everything that we can to remove them from positions of authority because they will constantly do these things while you sit back and talk about it.
I'm just wondering.
So you can go on the Oklahoma government web page, and send a message, call and leave a voicemail, say something. Join those people who have already said something. And one man has the authority to grant clemency to Julius Jones, and that's Governor Stitt.
And that may be too much power for one person to have, because I don't think one person should have the power and the authority. I know how the system is, and the system is set up that way. But for one person to have that absolute power, when you got all these other people, lines of people, man, on both sides of the fence, coming to this man's defense and saying that he should not be executed. But you got this one.
And if he is executed, Governor Stitt is not fit to be governor.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all it is to it. He is going against recommendations by the parole board or what have you. He has up until 4 o'clock. He has had all these opportunities to stop this travesty of justice. But if he chooses not to, when these people let you know who they are, believe them.
Yes, sir.
He is our enemy. Period.
Absolutely.
And I want him to understand no man should want innocent blood on his hands.
There's been a lot, and as you said, Leonard, there's been a lot of people that's actually come out, man, and in his defense, man, celebrities, public, regardless, average man like myself,
be anybody,
yeah,
in this situation. That's the problem. It could be anyone, guilty or not. That's the problem with the death penalty.
Yeah.
We need to go above and beyond, even when we're going to allow government to execute this way. We need to go above and beyond to make sure the rules provide that the individual be guilty of the crime. Not by hearsay, but by
actual
evidence.
fact. Yeah, by actual fact. Absolutely. Absolutely. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We love to hear from you this morning. Leonard, you said something earlier about the system. And like I said, again, I'm not gonna say it's a perfect system. I will never say that, but at the same time, when you have people like that governor, and I don't even want to call his name, like that governor, making these calls and being in these seats, it affects the whole system. And therefore, it's affecting the people. What do you say to that?
Well, you have to know who you elect. What type of person is Governor Stitt? All I know is he's a white Republican. I know that Oklahoma has a particular history.
Yes.
Of murdering innocent black people. And it is a shame how many states have a history of murdering innocent black people. America should be ashamed of themselves for this. Stop electing people with the mentality of these wicked racists. Now, I'm not calling Governor Stitt a racist. I'm just saying there are lots of wicked racists in positions of power that need to be removed. And when they show you who they are, believe them. When they stand up in courtrooms and say certain black people ought not be there,
yes,
they're wicked racists.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no need to, well, no sense of smoothing it over. Don't call in here with your Republican ideas trying to smooth over the damage done to our people by them.
Mm-hmm.
It's useless because the truth is out. And this is why the communities all over are screaming an injustice in this case. From suppression of evidence to not even caring that the young man had an alibi or anything. Since 19, the man has, I believe, been in jail. Not so, and even solitary confinement.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So we have to understand that, one, we have to do more than just talk about justice. We have to elect people who actually are concerned about justice.
And just think about that for a second, Leonard. Since the age of 19, I don't know how old he is now, but he's not a spring chicken anymore. But since the age of 19,
let's say almost 40.
Yeah, so 20 some years to be in solitary confinement, confined to that little small room. Possibly even, I think it's like 23 hours a day. They may get like an hour to come out. But to be in that one room, that one little small room, man, 23 hours a day for 20 years. And then to have to do that, for a crime you possibly didn't even commit. And now,
exactly.
And now to think that these people are about to, after keeping you in there for over 20 years in this small room, confined in this small room for 23 hours a day for a crime that you did not commit. Now they're saying that, okay, your time is up. Now we're going to kill you. We're going to execute you. Your death penalty is going to be executed against you for a crime that you possibly did not commit. You paid this debt to society for over 20 years. Now we're going to kill you. We're going to put a period on the end of this sentence of your life, and we're going to kill you right now for something that you possibly didn't even do. Think of the psyche of that. The psyche of that is, man, that's a lot to weigh on a person, man.
And if you're one of them people that don't care, shame on you.
Absolutely.
Shame on you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I don't even have to like you to want justice for you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's how I am about it.
Exactly.
It's the justice of the matter where the entire system constantly supports these types of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that is for people who may not be aware of that going on. You need to really get involved. Like I said, it's very simple. Call, send a message. I'm sure, change.org has a petition out. Those are the things that anybody can do from their desk.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So definitely think about these things, especially if you live in a state where the death penalty is under suspicion.
Mm-hmm.
So things like executing mentally disabled people,
mm-hmm.
Improper defense for certain people. So we have to understand it's not just one thing that's contributing to this, the way the system is. So it's not going to be one thing that fixes it. Everybody
mm-hmm.
has to get involved. It should not be so easy. We in America, half the people are still wicked enough to vote for a person like Donald Trump, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
Half of Americans.
Yes, sir.
Think about it, America. That's the recipe for destruction. How can anybody still be supporting white supremacy but wicked white racists?
Mm-hmm. 405.
It's a horrible thing, bro.
Exactly. 405-521-2342. 405-521-2342. 2342. That's the number to the governor. That's the governor of Oklahoma. That's the number there. Call and let them know how you feel about this whole situation. They're going to execute possibly, and I don't know all the evidence. Guilty, innocent, or whatever the case. This man he should have a right to have this another fair trial and to determine whether he's innocent or he's guilty. So how do you kill once you go through this at 4:00 today? Once you go through this at 4:05 or 4:30, you can't get evidence to say, "Oh, we made a mistake. Let's get him back." You can't get him back. Once it's done, it's done. So shouldn't you have all the evidence before you do something that's so final? Before you do something that is so final, and that's what this is, final. Shouldn't you have all the evidence? Shouldn't you, if there's any doubt in your mind? Go ahead.
Have to require.
Say it again, Leonard.
The system has to require it.
Yeah.
There should be no suppression of evidence whatsoever in these cases.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If there is evidence to exonerate you, why would someone not want that presented?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because they're wicked.
Mm-hmm.
They prefer that evil prevail.
Mm-hmm.
This is who we deal with every day. These are people in positions that we deal with every day. From like one, I was glad when we had the particular guest on, I believe yesterday, who shared a lot of day before yesterday, shared a lot of information about this being the Solicitor General.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And what he's doing to try to make things equal and just. These are the people that you have to elect if you want to fix a broken system.
Exactly. But my thing is, Leonard, and this is what it is, man. It's just like and you said it as well. If there's any just a small piece of evidence that could help or assist him in not being executed today, you have to look at it before you do what you're planning on doing today. If there's any, I don't care how large or small, you have to examine it, because if at 4:00 today, once you go through that process, just like, man, you can't come back. You cannot undo it. His life is gone. That's it. You can't get him back.
Right.
You can't say, well, we made a mistake. Let's go back and fix this thing. How do you do that? The man is dead. How do you do that? So if there's any evidence,
that's the sad part about it. After the fact, it's too late.
Yeah. There's nothing you could do.
So that's the way you can get involved. Use that phone number, leave a message, go online. You can leave a message to the governor on that web page as well. If you can't get through or leave a message.
See, my thing
now, if you around here running around talking about, and I'm going to attack those folks that are just into the romance of it all. If every time somebody asks you about race, Tulsa, Oklahoma comes out of your mouth, you had better be calling this governor and asking clemency for this young man.
Exactly. And
it also happened when?
Wow.
If you want to do something, if you want to do something about Oklahoma, call right now and let them know not to execute Julius Jones. Grant him clemency.
Let your voice be heard. Ain't
no sense in being so romantic over the past where you can't see the present and what's actually going on.
Exactly. We got quite a few people coming into the line. Let me see who we have. Okay, we got Goddess on the line. We have Kurt. Kurt came in a little bit before. Kurt, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Hey, what's up, fam?
Hey, we're talking about Mr. Jones is going to be executed today, man, and how we don't think that this is the right process, and it's not time for that, because there's so many people that's come out and spoken on his behalf. And there's if there's any evidence at all, Curtis, that this man is innocent and should not be executed today, they have to before 4 o'clock, before they do that, go through that process and kill this man. Curtis, I think they should look at every piece of evidence that may be able to help him to sustain his life. Curtis, what do you say to that?
Man, I don't said it before, man. You know what I mean? Like, hey, sell that bill of goods to somebody else, man. Yeah, they put. Brian, I can't say what I want to say because this is a gospel talk dash radio station, brother.
Yes, sir.
Stop asking me these questions, brother, because I'm ready to explode. Listen, man. These the same people that are standing out there with guns and pitchforks and everything talking about stop abortion.
Yes. Yes.
Man, it's just what we finding out, man, is what we finding out, man, is everything about this man, this particular group and this particular ideology is a bunch of frackernackle bull crap. It's a bunch of hypocrisy. It's a bunch of phoniness and fakeness. What we finding out, man, look, man, I don't mean no harm, man, and I'm not directing it to all of that culture because it ain't all of them. I'm gonna keep it real. It ain't all of them, bro. But what we finding out, man, is we not gonna tolerate this phoniness, this foolishness, this deceit, this envy, this sloth, we're not going to tolerate all that to continue to, man, listen, man. It's been going on for years, man. Man, listen, man. These folk have been the so-called measuring stick to what is right in society. All the while, they've been completely wrong. No, the man shouldn't be executed. If you got some evidence, some sculptory evidence that says that this man either did not do it, there's a possibility that he was not there, that you falsified evidence, that you withheld evidence, I don't care what it is. If you did not properly give this man a proper case, a proper trial, proper defense, no, he should be executed, right?
Absolutely. I'm right there with you, brother. Right there with you. God is good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. This whole United States is in a uproar, and it's just wild that every black man on every court is just every state is in court right now for their lives. You got Atlanta, Georgia, Ahmaud Arbery, for somebody killing them. That same culture that he was talking about. That's fraganackle.
Come on.
You got C.D. Lamb in Kansas City, Missouri. You got this young boy down in Oklahoma City. You got, let me see, it's several more that's on trial right now in my mind because I'm so upset. The Rittenhouse. And with that, they're saying Black Lives Matter never marched for the white man, but if they wasn't more out there for the white boys that got killed because there wasn't no black guys killed in that.
Thank you.
Come on.
But this young boy, if anybody know Oklahoma City culture, and my family's from down there, and I've been part of it, have been abused, and I remember as a kid, and I have been terrorized, and I can never forget back in the day when they used to walk down the street in the sheets in a parade. And I remember causing a problem because I didn't know that you can go across the street and go buy a hot dog or a Polish sausage. Because that side was white side and this side was black side.
Wow. Oklahoma.
So we know that there's a prosecutorial misconduct in that case.
Wow. Let's go to Rico.
We got Kevin Strickland here. You know, so we got it's just weird how every black man right now is in court fighting for their lives. I'm quite sure there's some more that I can't even think about right now.
Exactly. Hold on, sister. Let me go to Rico. Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I can't complain, man. Grand rising to everybody.
Hey, grand rising to you as well, brother. What's on your heart, man? I know you got it's a lot, man. They're talking about they're talking about executing this man today. 4 o'clock, they're gonna do it. And once they do it, any evidence that's on the table that they don't look at, Rico, they can't go back at 4:15 or 4:30 or whatever and look at that evidence and bring this man back. Once they do this process, once they go through the process, this is the period on the sentence of his life. You can't go back and undo it. Rico, what's going on here, man?
See, it's 4 o'clock today, right?
Yes, sir.
And this is the first time we done brought it up besides when I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, right? So once again, we fashionably late. Ain't this the perfect time to start trying to sign petitions and get in touch with somebody at the last minute? And you know what's funny is I've been noticing this, and I knew it was coming because for 2 months I've been posting about this. Now, Oklahoma, this is nothing new in Oklahoma. I talked about Liddell Lee last year. Talked about him a few months ago. He was executed for a murder from 1993. In 2017, Oklahoma. Executed, and then they found out after the execution, my bad, he didn't do it.
Wow.
I mentioned this on here before.
Yeah.
And it got passed over. Then I mentioned Julius Jones. Just last week, it got passed over, but now he got a few hours left. And now we're talking about it. I ain't got nothing else to say. I lost my breath on it a long time ago. The petition been out there. We could have signed it last week. We could have signed it last month. Because I know I got it in an email at least 2 months ago. A month at the most. So, I mean, and shared it and been posting about it. Free Julius Jones. I think I posted something yesterday about not Clinton, but Biden or somebody doing a pardon. Because if you go and look at the evidence in this case, man, he has alibis. His family members' words aren't good enough, and the judicial system is saying, well, you know what? Y'all witnesses to his innocence, but we don't trust y'all. So we think all y'all niggas are lie for him. We still gonna execute him, even though we ain't got the evidence. We got somebody else's word over y'all word saying that he was at home the whole time. Now, can you imagine how it feels for these people to sit back and know that this young man was sitting, that their son was sitting right up in his house during the time that they're accusing him of doing this crime that is completely out of his nature? And now here it is. He ain't got but a few hours left, and everybody want to talk about it now. I can't talk about it no more. I got to go to trial today. I've been in trial today watching somebody try to get off of killing somebody that I know. And God is his right. You know, it's been time I done been on here, and I heard people say, you know what, we need to concentrate on our backyard. We do. But at the same time, we have to understand that even when it ain't going on in our backyard, it's going on somewhere else, especially if you're a black man or a black woman.
Absolutely.
From state to state, city to city. So just the minute you put your guard down and say, everything lovely, money, let me get out here and live my best life. Somebody getting a knee on their neck, somebody getting prosecuted, or somebody might just be getting exonerated from the Innocence Project from sitting in prison 25 or 30 years for something they didn't do. 9 times out of 10 look like me.
Exactly.
So, you know, we late to the party again. But, you know, I think I'm going to let y'all have this one until you get on to the next subject.
Okay, good deal. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, Mr. Jones is going to be executed.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How you doing this morning? Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones is going to be executed today. There's evidence on the table, and like I said earlier, there's evidence on the table that could free him, but they don't want to look at it. They're going to execute him at 4 o'clock today. Now at 4:30, you can't go back and undo what you've done at 4 o'clock. You can't go back and look at the evidence and say, oh, like Rico just said, man, you can't go back and say, oh, we made a mistake. This man he's dead. Cassandra, what's going on here?
What has gone on for many years? I'm like Rico. I'm tired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is the type of stuff that has happened for years. We do have, thank God, we have people like the Innocent Project that has, helped many people to escape this fate. But this is nothing new. This is nothing new, and it just hasn't been Black people. It's been white people, other people that have been in this position. But to me, what does it take for you to go ahead and look at the evidence? What is another dang day, another week, another 2 months, another 6 months when it comes to somebody's life? So we're seeing the same old, and just, at some point you just get tired. I'm sort of tired of hearing about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not tired of hearing about it because it's people's lives, but just tired of seeing the reality of what happens in this country.
Exactly. And that's a very sad reality because it happens over and over and over again. It's a very, very sad reality. Curtis, what's on your heart, brother? Oh, hold on. I think I got Curtis. Mute. He has some background stuff going on. Hold on. Let me unmute this line. Hold on there, Curtis. There you go, brother. Sorry about that. What's on your heart, brother?
I'm tired, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna keep it all the way a buck. I'm tired and I'm gonna tell you what I'm tired of. I'm tired of people acting like there is not a difference. And I'm tired of people making excuses for accepting wrong differences. Julius Jones is who we are talking about, correct?
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's the Black guy, correct?
Yes, it is.
So here is a difference that bothers me. If I am led to believe that as a result of his crime or the crime that he was accused of, or the action that happened, he is an animal who warrants death. That's what you want me to believe and accept.
Mm-hmm.
While all at the same time, you got 3 white men in a truck who blatantly murder a Black boy in front of a camera where the rest of the world could see it. You got a white man with a badge that says you're supposed to protect and serve, with his knee on a man's cervical column until he choked to death on national TV. But yet they are treated civilly.
Mm-hmm.
was just, man, what? Ryan, you know I'm a therapist, so I gotta ask, Cassandra, please help me out. What kind of mind looks at that and says that it is right? Like, what is wrong with you, white people? And I say it. Ain't nobody. I say it. You know what? Dawn wrote a book. It's called "What's Wrong, White People," and she absolutely right. And she white. Well, she thought she was white. She found out that she ain't. But what's wrong, white people? I gotta ask you. I'm asking y'all to y'all face. What's wrong? What is really wrong?
Wow. God is what's on your heart, sis. Talk to me.
You know what, Raheem?
Yep.
I mean, let me finish this. Please, I had to pause for a minute because I'm getting too worked up. Raheem, I'm gonna ask again. What is wrong, white people, with being wrong? What's wrong with it? You want us to admit when we at fault. What's wrong, huh?
Wow. That's good. That's good. God, what's on your heart, sis? Phone lines are open 508.
I'm going to answer. I'm getting ready to answer their question for him. It's called diabolically, brilliantly evil. That's what's wrong with them. Diabolically, brilliantly evil. And it exists. And it's a culture that they're scared of, where they always quick to say that the black man is the violent one. Where throughout history and throughout nature, they have always been the violent one. Have always showed that they were violent. The Tulsa massacres, Philadelphia, all the way down from killing the Indians, from slavery, from Jim Crow, from I can go down the list.
Wow. That's good. That's good.
So when you're diabolically evil like that, we're sitting up here in the case that I'm working now, and I was so happy that the case that I'm working now is with Cameron Lamb, and we finally get someone from the George Floyd family came. We're starting to unite. Believe it or not, someone from the George Floyd family came to stand with the family with Cameron Lamb. Someone from the Aubrey, that one, I can't enunciate his name because I'm so upset. Ahmaud Aubrey. From California, Oscar, the Oscar family from Fruitvale Station, they came. We had another family here that their family came. We had Lee Merritt come. So we are all starting to unite because we got to go state to state to start traveling. So that's getting ready to start being my goal. Unfortunately, I can't make Oklahoma. I wish I could because it's right close and right in my neighborhood. But we still waiting on the verdict for Cameron Lamb when he was a young. And let me just explain what's going on. And this is weird. Not weird, diabolically evil. Where this man was, they got 3 different red trucks, but they said it was his truck, and he probably was chasing his girlfriend, but he decided to stop chasing the girlfriend. No call, no 911 call, no chase from the police. And we just happened to take a video because somebody was there. So somebody in my small group just happened to video, like it's a shooting, and it has to be a police shooting because out of the police department. So that's one thing we can start doing. Start paying attention. If you see a situation and there's a whole lot of police officers not telling him the police officer shooting. Get their video, pay attention. We've seen certain things that took place that they can't even explain. They were undercover, plain clothes. He didn't have no warrant. They never ran his tags. They never chased after him. He pulled over and back into his garage. Before he knew it, they entered into his property. Guns drawn, plain clothes, never mentioned that there's police. And shot and killed this boy. They violated all kinds of rights. No Fourth Amendment right. You can't just walk in somebody's property. Plain clothes. And then the other officer that's next to him said, I didn't see a gun. But the officer that's out there just shot him from the front windshield said he seen a gun.
Wow. And that's something we need to shine.
That fake tears, just like Rittenhouse.
Exactly. Hold on, sis. That's something we need to shine some light on as well. We need to let's shine some light on that so we can make sure that we give that the attention that is so rightfully deserved.
But it's the prosecutorial misconduct is the key factor.
Okay.
We got to start researching, and what I want to say, let me just say this. We got to start researching these judges. We got to start researching these prosecutors. We got to start researching these attorneys and see how they're affiliated.
Okay.
That's what we did.
Okay.
We found another case with the judge and the attorney were already in cahoots with the police department.
Okay. Hold right there, sis. Hold right there. Hold right there, sis. Hold right there. Let me pull some more people. I understand what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. But hold on. Let me keep everything going. I'm going to include everybody in the conversation. Cassandra, what's on your heart? Cassandra fighting that mute button. She's fighting that mute button.
Yeah.
Yes. What's on your heart, sis?
Yeah, well, y'all know what I'm going through, with my family, with my nephew being killed by the police and them doing everything they can to try to get us to back off, like I said, throwing money, which isn't going to bring my nephew back. And that's why I'm sort of, I don't know. I don't want to say I'm weary and well doing, but I'm so frustrated at our whole system because justice for all is not justice for all in the United States. And it's being proven over and over again. But thank God, because of technology, we're able to see what is happening. This isn't anything new. Let's make that clear.
Exactly.
Nothing that's happening right now around the country is new. It's just that we have now technology through phones and other media, social media, that we see more of what's happening. So for my family, it's a battle. My sister was actually with Wanda, Ahmaud Arbery's mom, on last week in court. She, stood with her. They did a press conference and everything down in Brunswick. And we have to make noise.
Yes,
we have to cry aloud and spare not right now. And unless we do that, this process of inequality and injustice will continue in our country. And I'm really sick of it. I really am.
Exactly.
Hey, Raheem.
Yes, sir.
I would be remiss in the midst of all of this. One, there's a name that we have not mentioned that is very close to this show. Her name is Maya Braxton. That was a child.
Yeah.
Still no justice. But I wanted to just, if y'all get a chance, Bishop Barber, the chairman, I believe it is, and the president, I believe he is, of the SCLC and the Poor People's Campaign, he's based out of North Carolina, wrote an op-ed in the New York Times yesterday I would highly recommend that folks read that op-ed, Black, White, Candy, Stripe. Because one of the things that I've noticed throughout history is that when people genuinely wanted change, if I just go straight to the ground floor, right? You know what they did, Raheem?
What's that?
They didn't show up to work. You understand? See, this man, this human being, who is our brother, let's not skirt around that. He comes from us.
Okay.
Has an obsession with money, and through money, it fuels his God complex. So you know what? Do what a lot of folks did. L-Dog talks very, very adamantly about legislation. Sometimes you got forced legislation. And because this man has the true sin of greed embedded in him, hit him where it hurt.
Exactly.
Don't show up to work and see what happens. Let me ask you this, right? Because you know we had these conversations. I'm gonna ask, and please give an answer, please, brother, please.
Okay.
What would happen if every African American, Latino American, Asian American, and every Caucasian American who can justly admit that what is going on in America is not right? What if we didn't show up to work? What would happen, Raheem?
It would have a big part in crippling the economic system that we have today. It will cripple it.
Don't show up to work.
It will cripple it. Yeah. It certainly would. We're gonna transition over to and we've pretty much been talking about it, but we're gonna open up the spectrum now of our topic, and we're gonna go into our topic is right here at 8:30. I usually like to get to the topic at least by 8:30, if we're gonna get to it at all that day. And what we're talking about right now is unequaled justice. It's plain and simple, unequaled justice. Rico, is that something that's been going on forever? Is that something that we can ever get away from? This unequal justice that's being Go ahead.
Yeah, it's been going on forever because it's in the nature of man to want an advantage. So, you know, I don't think it's ever really been a case where people have wanted to be equal, whether it was adults against children. I want more food than you get. You know, it's so many different things. Why you deserve more? I'm grown. So, you know, it has never been equal, but then, you know, sometimes it gets more extreme, that distance between the balance of fairness. It gets so far extreme in the distance, you know, as far as how far apart they go. So then you have to have oversight. You have to have regulations in place. You know, that's where rule and law and government was supposed to come into play. That's where the justice system was supposed to come into play. But then, you know, Curtis said something earlier, might have got by everybody. Somebody set a standard.
Yes.
They set and said, you know what, this is the way things are supposed to be. And this is the way we're going to do it. And we believed it. And then we found out that they didn't really practice by those same rules, whether it was the Bible or by law. When it came to them, they said, well, you know what, it applies to everybody but us. When it happens to us, then we're going to change the rules a little bit because, you know what I'm saying, it just wouldn't be right for white to be on the bottom end of things. Then all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, we adapted that mindset to a certain extent, you know what I'm saying, subconsciously, we do sort of depend on these people for guidance. Like Curtis said, what if we stop going to work? I've been saying this for years, and people say, oh, man, you got to get out here. This system does not work without us. Racism does not work without us. This complete system over here that we are complaining about doesn't work without us. If everybody was to sit out of work in Oklahoma for a week, I bet the governor would respond then.
Exactly.
But see, guess what? Somebody gotta get that money.
Mm-hmm.
MOE money over everything, baby. Yeah, what's going on with you? I don't like it. And it might be hard for me to cope with it at night. But then when I look out there in that garage and I see them 3 cars and that spider and all these different things that I like, the material things, we dependent over here. And I made a post last night. It might be relevant to this, but it sort of applies to how we have conformed to a system so negative against us that we actually contribute to it now.
Mm-hmm.
We contribute to the same system. And so now it's like, I'm going to see if I can say this the way it makes sense. Sometimes you can trick your enemy into killing himself.
Yeah.
The entire time he thinks he's living his best life. I call it population control.
Mm-hmm.
By the people that you're trying to control. Let them control it. So now, they could do their part, but then look at the part we play within our own communities. I don't want to call it black on black crime, but man, we do enough. We do enough to ourselves to where sometimes they don't have to do nothing but sit back and watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we not finishing the job, they got the judicial system to knock it on out. Like right now, we talking about black people avoiding execution. And I've been going to a trial this week for a white boy that's trying to avoid execution or being convicted for killing a black man. Once again, on the losing end, the black man.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you know, this is a system been going on. George Jr. Steiner, 14 years old, executed in 1944 at the age of 14. Young black man, accused of killing 2 little girls. Executed at 14.
14 years old.
Julius Jones, convicted at 19. Convicted. And they still don't want to hear if he's innocent or not. So, you know, the judicial system, we should know by now it ain't going to work for us. We should know now that ever since they ended slavery, every 4 years or 8 years, they came up with legislation to find another way to oppress us. Laws that targeted us. Laws that wasn't meant for us, meant for everybody, but they could use against us.
Yes, absolutely.
And we still participating in this great American system. But, you know, that American dream is too hard to avoid. I think we all want it, though.
Wow. That's truth. Truth right there. That's truth. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. It's the number. Give us a call. We'd love to have your input. Let me go to Captain Leonard. What's on your heart, brother? Unequalled justice. Does it exist?
Well, unequal justice is something I'm very passionate about. And, you know, that's what I really focus on a lot as it relates to racism. And then there's just plain old, like God has mentioned, prosecutorial misconduct.
Yes.
And that is different than what a lot of people believe. Prosecutorial misconduct is the people in power who are abusing the authority given them by the people to prosecute citizens, regardless of race or color. The standard is not standard because it depends on who's on trial. And that's the problem that we have, because the eyes of racist people still are involved. Their opinion shouldn't even be involved. However, when we see these things about to happen, for instance, if we have people making comments or making decisions that are, it's evident that they're racist, why wouldn't we show up and vote against these people? When you know what they've been done. Now, what people fail to realize is that in certain areas, you go about things differently because laws vary from state to state. A lot of people still don't even understand that concept. Why are laws allowed to be different from state to state? This just didn't happen overnight. So you can run around every day, all day, and find injustice because of this issue. They don't want CRT, critical race theory, used to be critical legal studies.
Mm-hmm.
And it came out of the justice system because of the disenfranchisement, particularly against African Americans. And it was always looked at in the legal context. So this is not new.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want people to understand. This is not new. And this is why we have to be aware of what's going on. So when things like, say, for instance, why you have people who are bringing it to the public's concern on whether or not it's taught in school or not.
Mm-hmm.
If your child is the one participating in that school, why aren't you down there at the Board of Education?
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. You know, it works when you have the support, and when people really must focus on. When someone says something that you may not understand or what have you, go research it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you can find out more about it. Because I hope that when people hear certain things, that they do go and they seek the evidence of what we're talking about. Go read the cases. Go look at all the efforts. I had a lady call me yesterday because from time to time people call me about certain things and initiatives they wanted to start.
Mm-hmm.
And I explained to her, regardless if 2 or 3 people are on board with you at this point, it's the passion in your heart on making that change happen is what should be driving you to do whatever it is you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
From whatever point of view you're doing. I would never hinder a person from doing the right thing. And that's what we have a problem with going on right now. Mm-hmm. There are some people that are not interested in doing the right thing.
Exactly.
And the propaganda you all have been taught so long that a certain type of person makes them right. A person with a badge, a person with a title,
mm-hmm.
and all these types of things. It's simply false.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Good deal.
I'm not saying you got to all the things mentioned by, like, say, for instance, walking out of your jobs and things. If that's what you want to do it. But do understand what's the outcome. Operate in terms of an outcome. What do you want to see differently? That's where your motive should be. What do you want to see differently, and how can you be a part of that change?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. That's
Injustice
good.
happens because people in positions of authority are unjust. The law has to be rewritten in terms of prosecuting individuals. There shouldn't even be a law that hides evidence or suppresses evidence.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't even be there.
Yeah.
Why would you suppress evidence?
Mm-hmm.
That shows you that the people that created these laws and things have a strategy to defraud some people.
And who are those people? My God, my God. 508-924-3521, 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to talk to you today. Our topic today is unequaled justice. Unequaled justice. Badger, good morning. How you doing this morning?
And it's a day waking up to this topic.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me.
Man, knowing the history that I do, man, I'm like not just looking at the African American history of America, but looking at the overall things done to other human beings. Now, if you want to use labels and do races, we can do China, we can do the Koreans, we can do Japan, we can do Jewish people, Irish people, Native Americans, pretty much anyone that has any skin tone other than, white for the most part. Well, that's not true because Irish people are whiter than them. And they don't like the Irish. It's very windy today.
Okay. Well, see, my thing is, and all due respect for everybody involved right now, what we're talking about is the situation that's going on in the Black community right now is what we're talking about. And so if we add other things, we're gonna pull away from the
Well,
spotlight. Listen
I'm
to
getting
me.
to that.
Okay. Well, so let's stay there because that's what we're talking about right now. But go ahead.
So the reason for me bringing this up is I'm hoping that with the stuff that's going on currently, and people look at some of the things that's been done to the other ones throughout history, especially to natives, learn from it. Don't let this crap happen. This situation in Oklahoma and other situations that's been going on for a while, there's got to be a way to fight it. One of the biggest ways to fight it is the governor in Oklahoma, right?
Yes.
He's not willing to talk to him. Isn't there a way to get him out of that seat?
Absolutely.
So what do? Instead of just doing petitions and stuff, you vote. Make sure, hopefully, the person doesn't get executed. But maybe this will wake you up not to people to actually vote. Find a way to vote. Make your voice heard. Make sure people like that don't have a seat to where they're controlling things like that.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about this all the time, and Leonard, expresses it, I think, the way that I see it. We have to change legislation. We have to put people in offices that will stand for what we want to see happen. And until we do that, we're going to just be talking, because this country is supposed to be based on laws, right? Supposed to be.
Supposed to be.
Unless you have those laws working in your favor, you are in trouble. So we have to have people in positions of authority that will make the calls that we need in order for justice to be done, equal justice under the law to be done for everyone, and especially people of color. That has been my stand always. That will continue to be my stand, because until we have that, this country will remain the racist, unequal justice, unequal in every way that it is right now, until we make legislative changes.
Exactly. Man, it's so much. It's so much going on with this particular topic right now. God, is what's on your heart? Unequal justice.
Well, you know what I say about the laws, and one main law that I see that we need to make sure that gets around is the council doctrine, where we're able to stand our own ground, for one, because their police officers are coming in. But how do you make some of these laws stand with you? I mean, it's clear that the Fourth Amendment in the Cameron Lamb's case, the Fourth Amendment should stand. I sit up there and watch this lady turn around the defend the fact it wasn't the Fourth Amendment, that he wasn't in his yard, he wasn't, but the police officer was. Well, that's really not the Fourth Amendment. Exactly. In his yard, in his house, in his area, without a warrant, in plain clothes, and did not announce that he was a police officer. So if he had the council doctrine and he shot his butt back, he should have been able to get off. Or at least be able to stay alive. They held the ambulance 45 minutes to make sure this brother was dead. That's why I say film this, and we caught that on film. On video.
Wow.
We also caught on video that the officers came in and shot this boy, held this boy down and shot him in the head, and shot the other officer. They said he had a gun, but he shot the other officer. He never had a gun. If we wouldn't have never had the video, we couldn't have never approved that. Then had an investigation company, you know how they have an outside investigation come in? They turned around and lied, so we were able to prove that all that was a lie. You got to start paying attention, and you got to start holding your prosecutors. Check and see who your prosecutors are in each and every state
Mm-hmm.
to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. If not, they can be charged for prosecutorial misconduct. Their license can be taken. Judges too.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we put everything out here and stated and showed that this judge has already violated the Fourth Amendment on another case. We already know what he's
Capable of
about.
doing. Yeah, what he's capable of doing. Absolutely.
What he's capable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Captain Leonard, talk to me, brother.
She put it out there just the way it actually is. A lot of people, if you don't understand about the Fourth Amendment, it protects you from illegal search and seizure. And that is huge in the Supreme Court. This is one of the biggest concerns of the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
And one, we have to move away from this notion that the government is right.
Mm-hmm.
It is the people that must insist that how things are done. And when people are not obeying those things, like God has just said, prosecutorial misconduct, one, you have to stand up against that when you see it. One of the first things that they did in here, judicial qualifications, for instance, and that's when you're in a courtroom, and if you've ever been a court observer before and taking notes, it's when you notice what the judge is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you have an issue with the judge. If you have an issue with what the judge is doing, you could actually file a complaint against the judge to have his activities looked at and his behavior. This is very important when now down the line we see judges being prosecuted and all the cases that they have sat on being overturned.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
There are people who are trying to even limit your ability to make a complaint against people. So if someone comes to you and say someone is doing something, a lot of times when we're organizing people, there is this point where okay, let's hit the media.
Mm-hmm.
One part that I've usually always done in organization is in bringing light to it is making sure that people understood who was in charge, who had the say of what was going on. This is the person you need to contact directly.
Mm-hmm.
That is responsible.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be aware that it never was meant for us to just go to the polls and come home and sit on our butt.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
That's not what democracy is.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have oversight as well.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's so easy to fall into these situations. And now we have new technology with DNA and all these types of things that are getting people freed from prison. And you have to say to yourself, well, if they never were guilty, how did they get convicted?
Mm-hmm.
It is because someone made it happen.
Yep. Exactly.
This is why I always caution people,
Mm-hmm.
low-income people,
Mm-hmm.
with dealing with the public defenders. You better make sure that public defender is doing exactly what it is they're supposed to do. And if you have a problem, you can even contact the public defender's office to get someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I've sat in courtrooms where these people go behind closed doors and come out with a deal for you. It's up to you whether you take it or not. I usually wouldn't even assist people who pled guilty.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you pled guilty, I don't need no other information.
Yeah.
Because you pled guilty against yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But yet you want me to believe that you're not guilty.
Wow.
So we have to be very clear.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to get proper legal representation. And even then, you still have the right to ask questions about anything you don't understand or don't agree with.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Let me go to Rico, and we're talking about unequaled justice. We're talking about unequaled justice. Let's deal with that part, the part of it, unequaled. What makes it unequaled?
Well, pretty much what everybody's been saying. People have been prosecuted that were not guilty. You know, the Innocence Project wouldn't exist if it was a such thing as equal justice. But unequal justice, it made way for something like the Innocence Project to exist. And many more organizations need to exist that does the same thing. That's why judicial reform and police reform is on the table right now. Because unequal justice exists. See, if equal justice existed, the police would be doing their job. The judicial system would be doing their job.
Come on.
They wouldn't need so many exonerations. There wouldn't be such thing as prosecutorial misconduct. But now that term even exists, it lets you know because somebody has used their absolute power, quote unquote, and abused it to do their will, to accomplish their agenda. But you know, everybody's been saying the right issue. You know what I'm saying? Even going back to the Julius Jones thing, you could vote the governor out when it's time to vote.
Exactly.
But right now, Julius Jones can't afford to wait till then.
No. He don't have. He don't have that luxury. He don't have that luxury.
I learned one thing about these white people. Not only do they participate with the government, they'll go against it. So you just can't do one thing and sit back and say, well, this is what we're going to ride with. We're depending on the government. Guess what they did in Michigan when they got mad? They went up in that and they were going to get their governor.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody went to jail for that yet. And I guarantee you, every last one of them were voters. Hardcore conservatives. I bet they were so aware on their politics and their whiteness. So they participate on both sides. See, we have to understand that we got to use any and all means necessary. Guess what those people that did on the January 6th, the Capitol riots?
Yes.
A bunch of voters, a bunch of Donald Trump supporters. They put their foot down and did something that we ain't organized to do yet. They got militias. We finally come up with the NFAC and then other black people. Man, they're going to get killed.
Exactly.
We ain't studying them.
Yeah.
They're going to get their head blown. That's what we need. We need somebody in every corner. So we can be ready for whatever and down for whatever when push comes to shove.
Absolutely.
You know, we need a group like the Black Panthers that once stormed the Capitol. That's probably new to a lot of people, ain't it? The Black Panthers actually stormed the Capitol armed. That ain't in your history books, is it?
No. Not at all.
Now they didn't get off as easy as the January 6th people.
Of course.
But sometimes you have to make a sacrifice. Because if you don't, you complicit and you submitting to that system. See, this system that we talking about, systemic and systematic racism, is where it came from. This whole country was founded and it succeeded off the back of slavery, which was not fair, which was based on being unequal toward other human beings. And if that was what made this country successful, well, why would it stop? You ain't gonna stop a good thing. But now we playing a part in it. So it goes back to what I said, I posted up yesterday. Sometimes you can trick your enemies into killing themselves with the whole time they thinking they're enjoying their best lives. Because we have access and we are addicted to and dependent on all these tools and vices that they give us. Now we controlling our own population and they just sitting back watching it. Like I said, when we don't finish doing it, they can come back and clean up. But it's all because we only feel like I ain't gonna say we, some people or our community, we will not dedicate ourselves full time to true progress. We have so many people looking out for individual success and individual progress that they don't have time enough to realize what the reality of this country is. They participate in being Republicans and conservatives and bringing up politics all the time and using political talking points. We're not, and ignoring all this other stuff. You know, we got to have not a physical revolution, but we got to have a mental revolution.
Absolutely.
And understand that it ain't just gonna take one thing. Yeah, the vote is good, but Julius Jones needs something right now. And if you could go vote on a governor right now, knock yourself out. Show me how long you're gonna be standing in line
by yourself.
Call Julius Jones' family, tell him you up there ready to vote the governor out now.
Exactly. Wow. That's not worth a hill of beans. I tell you, it's not gonna happen. It's certainly not going to happen. Badger, what's on your heart?
Man, it's just watching things just going down and things like that, and we need to come together to make these changes happen. It gets frustrating when there's people that make those comments of, we can do it on our own. This individuality and to seeking for justice isn't going to solve the unequal justice that's out there. We need to come together as one and fight the corrupted system. Because it hurts all of us. Those of us that are sitting here doing our best to fight it, that are watching this happen to other races, and it's extremely, it's sad, it's depressing, it's frustrating, and we're fighting to the best that we can. But it feels like things are always separated. A lot of people don't want other races involved because of whatever reason that's in their brain. And to me, that's another taught behavior, another taught thought process, or it's trauma related.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, what's on your heart, sis?
Yeah, Badger is right, because for me, I have seen in all of my years working with equality and justice, I have seen many of my white brothers and sisters stand, get beaten, go to jail, standing with us. And I agree. We are not going to do it like just all black people. If just all black people stand together, we'll be able. No. I'm sorry. We are still going to need people that care about people to stand together and say, no, we cannot continue to have this happen in this country.
Yes.
One person I want to mention is Brian Stevenson, who did Just Mercy and who created the lynching memorial down in Alabama. Brian Stevenson stood up and fought and risked his life. But guess what? His main person standing next to him was a young white girl whose family was threatened. Her life was threatened. So I don't want to just limit when we're trying to get equality and justice just to black people, because it will not happen if just black people do it. Bottom line.
And that goes back to I'm trying to figure out how this would line together. But when President Obama became president, he would not have been president of the United States of America if just black people voted for him. He would not have been the president of the United States of America. It had to be more. It had to be more people coming together collectively and voted for him, and it had to be more than quote unquote just black people. Man, there's so many different layers here. Goddess, what's on your heart, sis? Before you go, Goddess, hold on. The phone number is 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We love to have your input. Got quite a few people that's tuning in. Definitely appreciate each and every one of you for joining us this morning. The number is 508-924-3521. Goddess, what's on your heart? God, is you there? Think we may have lost her for a sec.
Uh,
There you go. There you go. Mm-hmm.
I just want to reiterate, our white allies have always been key to everything that we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Even from slavery. So I know that when we do marches and stuff like that, we don't let them lead. And that's one thing we got to understand. They can't lead, but they can be right there to support the cause. And it's important that you understand they cannot lead, but they can be right there to support the cause.
Okay.
If a lot of people, I can go into detail, but I don't want to. With that being said, you're going to get more of them than you're going to get us out. And I have to say, our pastors are going to have to come to the table. We got a pastor right now that we sat down, and it's been 2 or 3 of them that's coming out from the pulpit. They're speaking. That was one of the major things that they brought up in the trial in the Ahmaud Arbery case. How many pastors does this man have? See, y'all don't understand how strong that y'all have. With the strength that you have. And that's why a lot of people don't understand the COINTELPRO. That's why they turned around and did the 501c churches, so y'all can't come out and speak. I'm not getting ready to get out here and really start talking about, but that was when Jesse Jackson was sitting up in here, and that was one of the key things that he started saying in the mouth. Wait a minute, what's his name was here the other day, and she had her other pastor here today, and today Jesse Jackson, he's sitting back there just chilling, not saying nothing, just sitting back next to the family, because they know what it shows. Just his presence.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Captain Leonard, talk to me, brother.
You know what was when you said that, you know what the first thing on my mind was, Raheem?
What's that?
I was just on, what would he do if he came to me like that and I just started singing the alphabet? Because you always call me like, what's on your, this is on my mind. This is what we talked about. Right? Where have you been?
Exactly.
People have to understand how it works. And just like she said, the very presence of what is right disturbed him.
Yep.
To the point where he could no longer hide how wicked he really is.
Yep.
And the spirit showed up and the devil cried out.
Come on. Come on.
Because right is on a particular side. And if you're not on that side, you're on the opposite side, which is evil. They know who they are. So you have to go after them. You have to go after their seats. I don't care where they're at. I don't care if a black person ain't never sat in that seat. You be the first one.
Yes, absolutely.
To be the border, to be, trust me, even in 2021, we still celebrating the first black chairman of a commission, of these commissions and things of this nature. So it's not, this ain't ancient history. It's what's happening right now. Julius Jones' case has been going on for a very long time. Now we get to see what's going to happen finally. You know, everybody doesn't know things, don't get in the beginning or the end. Sometimes they get right in the middle and start from there. But what's most important is that, one, when you recognize an injustice being done, what side are you on? You know, you got some people say, well, you know, it's my job to do this. You need to find another job then. because they're meticulous about their strategy to stay in power. When you have a person that can win a vote 20% in front of everybody else, but because they didn't get 50%, they don't win the election. But they beat everybody else, and the people supported them.
Yeah.
And this is what the design is about. That design is to minimize the public's input. That's why they have their own party and their own agendas to limit the majority of those people who will stand up. She just said the man was just sitting back in court, and if they never would have mentioned it, nobody probably never would have known.
Well, no, he was there. Exactly. Exactly.
And that man jumped up and screamed out because he couldn't control himself, because he know how evil he really is. Trust me, the judges, the defense attorneys, everybody in this legal system has to be held accountable for what has happened and what happens every day in courtrooms across America. Why do you think you need a Bill of Rights? It's to protect you from out of control authority. And we've been out of control for a long time, right?
Absolutely. Man, you telling me. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rico, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
I like what everybody said about not being able to do this on our own. And I would hope that nobody would assume that black people just gonna break off and do this on our own, or that we never have. You know, we've had abolitionists, white abolitionists throughout history.
Yes, yes.
When Martin Luther King marched, he had white people with him. When black women decided to separate and become feminists, Gloria Steinem was their mouthpiece. She actually even wrote a book and put a black woman name on it. She did what? See, that's where we don't have a problem with white people helping us, and we know we need them to help us because we have to infiltrate. I think I brought up a while back how Master P had some white and Jewish attorneys go down and use his government name as one of their partners in the middle of all these people to go buy this downtown property in New Orleans that he knew would not be available to him had he went down there as Master P on his own.
Exactly.
Talking about putting a gold tank in the middle of New Orleans. He knew he wasn't going to be able to do that. So what he did, he found allies. But see, the thing is, those allies still better realize that they got to be consistent and absolute about this black cause. That's the point we're trying to make. We ain't trying to exclude white people. Yeah, we're going to need y'all. We're going to need y'all to fight for our cause. Not to come in here and separate us or infiltrate us with some of y'all ideology and how y'all feel, but to come on our behalf and be a foot soldier. I like what God has said. You ain't gonna be able to lead, but you sure can come in and contribute to your fullest extent. That's why I love absolutism. That's why I love people being consistent. I love people that are absolute and people that are consistent, because you know what to expect from then on, and you know what they're gonna be down for. It ain't gonna be a whole lot of flip-flopping. See, but if you're not careful, people can infiltrate your cause.
Come on.
In the process of you saying that you need them, and sabotage and start pulling away. Next thing you know, you're sharing spaces with Jews, and now Jews doing better than you. Next thing you know, you're sharing spaces with the gay community, and now they getting more rights than you. Next thing you know, you're sharing more space with the Latino community. Now they getting more benefits than you. Now they voting Republican all of a sudden. And here we still out here fighting for the same mess we've been fighting for the last 40 or 50 years. That's what it is. See, we assume that when we say we want to stand for the black community, oh, y'all just want to do it on your own. Man, come on, let's do it. We're on Earth. We know we can't do it on our own.
Exactly.
We too far in the hole. We don't even have a military. So we would have to have people to still participate in the system. Infiltrate the Republican Party. Infiltrate the Democratic Party. Come up with an independent party. Infiltrate the military. Come back and teach the people in your community all the warfare tactics that they taught you in the military. Utilize them. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, you know, yeah, we have to participate in the system, What I'm saying is you got to have a plan, a true plan for progress. And don't just be narrow-minded enough to think that when we talking about black power, black unity, or black progress, that we're trying to exclude anybody. We're just trying to make sure that these people that come in and contribute and help us don't hold us back no more.
Exactly. Exactly. Badger, what's on your heart? Talk to me, Badger.
You know, talking about what we're talking about is also like the education of what people need to know. You know, I shared the thing that we talked about the other day on the show about House Bill 40. Um, that's being pushed through right now, and shared it with another community I'm a part of. And I'm bringing this up because also kind of as an I'm actually curious and want to understand. But one of the comments that was given to me was, unfortunately, I'm still not sold. They've been talking about it for years. Just because there is a bill saying they will discuss it means nothing. Now, this is a mostly African American community, and most of the people in this group have that mentality. And here I am sharing all this info and stuff, and it throws me off because it's hard for me to grasp or understand. Because a lot of you guys, I know what y'all are doing. I know the things you're fighting for equal justice and stuff like that. How many people are out there that's like that person that was responding? Like, have they just gave up the fight or what?
Leonard?
He asked specifically, who is that person?
Have they given up the fight?
Well, I do believe, as I mentioned before, there's a way to recognize someone who is on your side and who is not. And in some cases, that is just really what it is, because it is a fight. There's no need to fight if you all agree. So what you have to accept is that there are some people who are dedicated to doing what is right, and there are other people who are dedicated to doing whatever the hell they want to do. And that's just how it is. And that's why we have to fight. It's the enemy. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, is what I always say.
Yes.
Because there are just some people who do not want what is right. There's some folks want just what's right. That's where this problem started. And they're about the same business that they always have been about. That's who they are. And we must defeat that mentality and make sure that we have what's best in us is governing us. Because what we have been getting has not been so. We got great programs. People with programs now in cities like the city of Atlanta, I just found out. They're $2 million to low-income families. They're just going to, I believe, pick about 300 or so residents and provide them with a stipend.
That's good.
See, those kind of programs come from people with good hearts. That other side would have never done anything like that.
Exactly.
One side wants to make sure that everybody has access to health care because human beings need health care. There's another side that's opposed to that. So you have to expect that. and then pick a side.
That's good. That's good. Cassandra, let me ask you this question. Cassandra, you there?
Yes, ma'am.
In this
Yes, I am.
whole fight against unequaled justice, are we in a situation at this point in time? Would you say we're playing checkers or chess?
Well, I'm hoping that we're playing chess because it's chess is strategic. And I believe that everything that we need to be doing right now as a people need to be strategic moves. And I believe that's what Leonard stands for. Let's plan. What do we do? What move do we make next? That's a chess game. A checker, you just jumping all over the place trying to make a low headway, but then you make one jump and then they take two and take 3 or 4 of your men out. So we're being strategic right now. I'm hoping in what we do. I want to just mention really quickly, someone said about infiltration. And I remember doing the George Floyd protests and stuff. I was out like almost every day. I was wore out, but I was out there because I felt it was necessary. There was a young white female that would come out and be with us because I was always with the leaders of the group as an old, SCLC. I was, with the young leaders. But anyway, there was a young white girl that kept coming. She was there every day that I was there, and days I wasn't there, I'm sure. But one day she came over to me and she said, "Hey, I want to be with some of the radical people. I want to be with, not just this peaceful protest stuff." And I looked at her and I said, "What?" And immediately, come on now, don't be playing. Immediately, I knew who she was.
Yes, ma'am.
Immediately, I knew. Come on now.
Yeah.
And I said, "You got the wrong group. We're doing peaceful protests here."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, but they got to be a group that's doing." I said, "Listen, I don't know anything about that." And I said, "I think you with the wrong group. I think you with the wrong group." See, people like that, that's why you got to be wise as a serpent, harmless as a dove. Because she thought she was going to, get some kind of information, and I believe she was a plant with all my heart. I believe she was a plant. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and you, I think you're right. I really do, because there's so many different things that could be said out of that whole situation right there that happened. Let me go to Goddess. Goddess, what's on your heart right now?
Back on to the infiltrators. Back with the infiltrators. Antifa is real. We have one right now we had to kick him out of school at some place where he was teaching the wrong rhetoric to kids and been doing it for years. I don't know what it's on the internet now where it was a teacher who was in Antifa that was teaching the rhetoric for a while in the school, never said anything. Until some parents said, "What, you teaching our kids this?" So all the parents stood up together and united together and started speaking on that. Antifa is real. They call it Antifa. They come in, they infiltrate our peaceful marches. That's why they're starting to do laws. And so the fact that they're starting to do these laws against it, we got to start waking up. And if you look at anything through COINTELPRO and all the other things, it was always a black man that took us down, the infiltrated. So not only are we calling those that are white, the ones that appear to be white allies, we got to call them upon our own. They infiltrate our own.
Wow.
They don't have the agenda for us. We call it the opportunist. The black opportunist.
Come on.
There's a difference between opportunity and an opportunist.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And you got to put that label. I hate to say.
Mm-hmm.
You got to call it like it is, or the black agenda will never continue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's all I gotta say.
Exactly. I watched
Ooh, got it.
I watched the movie the other day. My wife and I, we looked at it. And man, I can't remember the name. It gotta come to me, and it'll come to me hopefully in a little bit. I'm gonna go to Rico while I still think about this thing. But there was a plant that was put in. What was the name of that movie, Rico?
The Black Messiah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's it. That's it. Man, yeah, that's exactly what came to my mind when she said. I was like, man, that's that dude, man. They planted it, and then they interviewed him at the end, and he tried to justify it. And well, history will tell. Man, yeah, history gonna tell who you are. Go ahead, Rico.
You know, man, God took everything out of my mouth, man. I almost got mad. I had you made me that I had this thing on mute, boy. I'm telling you, people saying everything I was gonna say.
Yes,
but
sir.
I like what Leonard said, because he said something huge.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You got a lot of people that are out here for right, and then some people that just want to do whatever they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I call them people that want to do what's right for them.
Yes.
They'll say they're doing what's right as long as it's for them.
Mm-hmm.
So they really do. They just do what they want to do, because if it don't benefit them, then they might do something different. Exactly. Or it might affect you the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, she hit it on the head. I was gonna bring up COINTELPRO. See, we want to move for our progress.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that we have our allies involved. But man, the devil's such a big deceiver.
Yes, sir.
He's the best. I mean, he's the biggest trickster in the history of mankind, the history of existence.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody a bigger deceiver than the devil.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And he been deceiving us. He been getting us. And he actually looked like us sometimes. That's why I was glad she brought that up, because I was going now. So, you know, we have a thing in our community to where sometimes we trust people and they really divide and distract us.
Mm-hmm.
I brought up Gloria Steiner. You know, I brought up, you know what I'm saying, the with the Jewish League or with some ACLU. There's different organizations that have come around, different cultures and races of people have came and united with us. We're brothers. We went through the same thing, and all of a sudden they go up and they got all this power, and we still stuck crying about the same stuff. But see, we don't really know how to discern. We're so confused that sometimes we divide. We're so divided we don't know what to support.
Mm-hmm.
Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
We 50-50 on that. Some people say, well, Planned Parenthood is a good thing. Then some people say it's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I'm just confused about it. I don't know whether I want to support it or not. Because I know that some people do need that service.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I know who financed Margaret Sanger.
Mm-hmm.
I know what she stood for, some of the things she said. She wasn't really for us. And then I went back and studied when did Planned Parenthood originate. And to be honest with you, there was a time in Black history where we had this epidemic going on again with women just having children everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to sort of control our population because we was getting out of control. Men were having babies everywhere, and women started having children by different dudes. They had to put a lock on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was geared toward us. Financed by white supremacy.
Exactly.
Opportunistic people. They saw that we had a need. We had something that we needed taken care of, and we couldn't solve that problem ourselves because we all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
We in disarray and dependent on them. So they saw another opportunity to come in and infiltrate subliminally population control and then making us embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to get you some birth control pills.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yep.
Girl, I'm on the pill. I mean, when I was young coming up, man, I thought that was like something cool.
Or Rico,
when we talked about it like that was the thing to do.
Or Rico, they put that little whatever that thing is that you put in the arm or whatever it is, and they're supposed to make them not have baby. I can't remember what it was called, but implant.
The Noah plant.
Yeah.
Plant.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Them Noah plants and all this.
Rico, wasn't Bill Gates part of affiliated with Margaret Sanger? I just wanted to ask.
Well, he might be a supporter. I mean, Margaret Sanger is so old and she dead. I mean, she came up with Planned Parenthood like in the 50s, a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. He probably is.
Mm-hmm.
Probably is.
Absolutely.
So what was the word you said? Population control. And what's Bill Gates right now trying to do?
But and we contributing to it.
Exactly.
It goes back to what I said earlier. You can like something sometimes, and you think you living your best life, when really and truly you contributing to your demise.
Absolutely.
And so you go back and you think about it in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s when birth control talk was like common. I mean, I'm a man and I know more about the different types of birth control a woman's supposed to take than, you know what I'm saying, some women. Because you hear them talk about it so much. It's a common thing, acceptable.
Yep.
But guess who finances it? So, you know, who are when we got our people, our allies in, the people that we think are really there to help us, do we really know what help is? And then when we find out what help is, are we making sure that these people are being absolute and consistent?
Absolutely. Let me go to the phone lines, and we got two callers just calling in. I think Mimi, you was my next caller. Mimi, how you doing? Good morning. Thank you for calling us.
Mimi Acosta in the building. How are you doing? How's everyone doing today?
Hey, doing well. Sis, how you doing today?
I am wonderful. I can't even complain. God has been really good.
Absolutely. And we asking a question. Our topic today is we're talking about unequaled justice. Unequal justice. What do you say to that?
I have a whole lot of things to say to that because, you know, as you may or not still know, you know, I have my daughter that's still a part of this system. And, you know, we're working on getting her home, and it's just been a crazy mess. But, you know, my take is very, very simple because, you know, my situation is kind of like unorthodox, but it's really like many because I am in the TV, film, and music industry. So there's just a lot of stuff that I've chosen not to pay attention to just because the devil have a way of getting to us in ways that could really kind of like hold us down and keep us super oppressed. And I think because I'm both from the Caribbean and Puerto Rican, I have like a lot of takes on a lot that's going on. You know, so my thing is I just stayed prayed up and I just keep on moving and I go for what I want. And whatever it is that I want, I pray on it and I get out here and I get it. And I just don't let nothing or nobody stop me from what it is that I want. Because at the end of the day, that is what they, quote unquote, want from us. They want us to stop and think. So then the devil gets up in us and like, okay, no, I don't think I should go for that, or I don't think I should go to the left, or maybe if I go to the right, this happens. And that's where we stop ourselves. But if you put God ahead of you and you put on the armor and you just step out in faith and go do what you got to do, there's nothing that should be able to stop us from moving forward. Period.
Absolutely. Now, we was also talking about today, Mr. Jones is going to be executed today. And there's some evidence that may on the table that they're not going to look at that may stop this execution. What do you say to that, Mimi? What's on your heart?
Oh, see, that's really, really bad. When it gets to the last minute of the midnight hour, my thing is you just gotta stay prayed up until something happens. And you know, I pray that somebody just really kind of like looks at it, even if it's at the last minute of the midnight hour and they pull the plug and like, no, hold on a second, we need to look at something. Because at the end of the day, you know, like I said, you know, I'm working at getting my daughter home, but anything can happen at any given time to turn situations around that even she herself could be in that position. So I'm just really open, and I stay prayed up for Mr. Jones, and you know, you just, hey, look, I just keep it moving when it comes to stuff like that. I try really not to get too much involved, just because I know that even with family members, you know, we're all facing the very same things, you know.
Exactly. Bishop, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Man, I'm blessed, man. Good morning to you and everyone that's on the air.
Yes, sir. Good. We're talking about unequaled justice. Unequaled justice, Bishop. What's on your heart concerning that?
Well, you talking about a subject that when I was a police officer was very important to me, because I tell you, the laws on the book, they're supposed to be applied the same, but they're dispensed unequally towards African Americans. And that's a shame. And I used to say it all the time. I'm like, man, you know, you want me to do this to them, I arrest them for this, but then I turn around and arrest a Caucasian man for the same offense, but then the penalties are different. So we live in a country, and I spoke this last night, there is not liberty. There is no justice for all. What they call justice that's going to be imposed on a black person, they call it justice, but they don't render the same to those who are, of Caucasian. So I argue, and I spoke this last night in the church, and I said it's time for the preachers to stop being so silent. It's time to cry loud. It's time to open up your mouth and speak about the injustice that's being done. Now I'm looking at Jesse, and I'm looking at Al down there in Brunswick, and the attorney, instead of focusing on trying to prove the innocence of his client, he worried more about the black preacher sitting up in the courtroom.
Exactly.
Amen. Amen.
You think that's going to influence the judgment of the jury? All the evidence points that what these men did was murder. I don't give a care about nothing else. And at the end of the day, they're trying to find a way to either lessen the sentence or either acquit them. And that's why he focused on these black preachers there. It's time not only for the preachers, but it's time for all of us to wake up. Rico says it. My sister here just got through speaking whether we be late in the midnight hour. We got to wake up, and we have to wake up these legislators. And we cannot sit by idly and just have, on this platform and talk about it. We got to have people that's going to be about it. If you want change, you got to work towards making change.
Absolutely.
And that's where we are, man. So no, liberty and justice, man, take that somewhere else and let somebody else be fooled with it, not me.
Exactly. Cassandra, talk to me, sis.
Yeah, I on Saturday, I think I mentioned this to you. There is going to be a rally with a prison reform group down at the Georgia State Capitol, and I'm going to be speaking at that event. And it goes with what we are talking about. We have to be the change that we want to see. I'm telling you, until we get the law changed, and there's a law that's coming up. I don't know the number, so I'm not going to quote it. Leonard might know it, for mental health, how we're dealing with the mental health when it comes to incarceration. There's a bill coming up before the Georgia legislation. So we will be down at the Georgia State Capitol on Saturday at Liberty Park, right across the street from the Georgia State Capitol, from 11 to 4. And we have to it's just showing your presence, making your stand clear. And protests and rallies are a way that I use, as well as going legislatively. But we have to do something. And Bishop is right. Why is it that, and I've worked with the prison system almost 40 years, going into state, local, and federal jails. Why is it that when I see in the federal prison, I saw this a lot, you had a young black kid, 18, 19 years old, that was selling crack, and he got 18, 20 years. And then there were white men that were there for cocaine that got 7 years. Somebody needs to explain that to me. And this is from their mouth. This is them telling me their stories. I don't understand that. So how is it that crack got you 18, 20 years, and then cocaine got you 7 years?
Leonard?
There's something wrong with our system.
Leonard?
She's exactly right, because that was one of the main issues related to President Obama's time in office. Because of that one piece of legislation that deemed crack cocaine so worthy of all of this time that they legitimized doing that. And when Obama got in office, he went after that disparity in sentencing for that very fact. It was what Powder versus Rock. They made that a law, knowing it would disenfranchise a certain group and community.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
And that's so unconstitutional. And that disparity in sentencing, and then you also had judges mandatory minimums, which meant that whatever happened, this was the minimum you would get. Everything else would just be ridiculous, which led to, quote, mass incarceration. It's because the laws pretty much just went and just rounded up a certain community and locked them up.
Yep. Wow.
And interestingly, with the way the system is today, now you see that a lot of judges are being incarcerated. A lot of this is turning around because people are coming together and going case by case to see, okay, look at all the people that are being released. Some people in there for 25 years innocently. This one guy just recently got, released 45 years innocently. Like, it's just happening. It's starting to happen more and more. We're starting to see a lot of these cases getting reopened and a lot of people being released just because,
Exactly. And there's and we spoke earlier about the system. Is it the system or is the people that's in the system? I think it kind of, now listening to the conversation, I think it has a little bit to do with both. But I'm still leaning more towards it's actually the people that's running this system that has corrupted this very system itself. Badger, what's on your heart?
Of course.
That's one of the things I constantly look at. How's the system being used? How is it? Who's fighting what? What judge is doing what? It's like the county I live in. I'm working hard of sharing information with the communities. I'm trying to show that we can make a difference in the county and in the county that we live in. And I'm literally just watching people look at it, read it, and do nothing. There was one person that was trying to do something, and all of a sudden, everything that he was posting in our county community Facebook group, he was kicked out of the community, out of the Facebook group, because he was posting things about change and things like that. And I had to complain to the people that ran the Facebook group to put information of where the money is going in our county and why our roads are messed up, why there are some homeless people around, why the parks for kids aren't being done, why some of the historical places are not being taken care of, graveyards aren't being taken care of, the community just as a whole, just things that, in my opinion, would help this community grow, is going in the pockets of these rich, power-hungry people that are in the seats right now. And just about everyone that's running, I don't want to vote for a single one of them. I see what they stand for, and what's behind them. I haven't seen. I don't think there's been a good president for a long time. Just across the board, they put on this facade. They're a face for the people in power. I get angry at people thinking that the president has all this power. I'm like, no. No, the person that has the most money in America has the power to tell the president what to vote for and what to make. If people want to call me a conspiracy theorist, fine. Prove me wrong.
That's good.
Because the laws that are being put in place right now, and I heard about the comment about the groups and stuff, and what I find most interesting about that is I wonder how much they are paid off to stay away from the rights that are being fought for right now. Because if they keep us separated, it's going to be a lot harder to actually make a change.
Exactly. God is what's on your heart, sis?
Listening to some of the things and our civil rights continuing to be violated slowly but surely, and we sit back and we allow it due to the major powers that be, due to the large corporations, due to reasonings that again, back to systematic oppression, from all the way to our food. And we've got to wake up. We cannot continue to keep believing the government.
That's good.
We cannot continue to believe in the government. Everybody ran to go do such and such and stuff instead of doing this right stuff to build their immune system, but they didn't realize that our whole civil right, our whole constitutional rights were violated by mandating people to take these dang on shots.
Exactly.
They didn't tell you that half of the people that are getting pregnant or that were pregnant were miscarrying. They didn't tell none of y'all that. They didn't tell y'all that. Well, I mean, it's just so much I can go through the line that it does cause death, period.
Yeah.
And you can't go back and sue and say, hey, they didn't tell you that the FDA, all the stuff, the medications that they came out with, Rivada, Pravada, whatever that Truvada, the first HIV stuff that came out was killing the patient. They didn't tell you that FDA approved the red dye and all the other foods that's out here that's killing folks. But everybody ran to go get this. Now they get ready to put their kids on it.
Wow.
And even the kids are being affected.
The kids are being affected. When doctors and nurses are walking away from their jobs, wake up. When there's a lawsuit that's been filed from over 5,000 doctors against the World Health Organization, wake up. Stop following the masses. This is what they talked about in the Bible.
Exactly. Let's keep this thing going, man. We got a few more minutes before we get out of here, man. But this is so good, man. We might have to actually do a part 2 of this one right here. We might have to do a part 2 of this one here. But let me go to Bishop. What's on your heart, brother? Rico, coming to you next. Bishop, you there?
You know, just listening to what God was saying is, I mean, I can't say it no more than what I'm saying. It's time to wake up. It's time to get out there. It's time to speak up and speak out.
That's good. That's good.
Rico, say wake up.
Wake up and go.
That's it, man.
Yes, sir. Rico, let me ask you this, and we're talking about unequal justice. What are we? We've talked about a lot of things that's going on. Let's go solution based right now. What should we, as a community, what should we do? How should we fight against this whole situation of unequal justice? What should we do, Rico?
Once again, we got to utilize every and all means necessary to go towards things that's going to benefit us. And we got to start trying to be as less, I'm going to say the least amount of dependent as possible on this system. Like the Amish. I think I said last week how the Amish have only had to use the judicial court system for murder twice in the history of this country. Ain't that something? A whole community been living over here in this country since its existence, and they only had to use the judicial system twice for a murder. Hundreds of years that they ain't dependent on the government, but we are dependent on it. You know, I ain't the most eloquent person, and I don't do nothing for cheerleaders and cosigns, but I'm going to repeat it again because I see that it came back around when they talked about the crack and the cocaine laws. Since Emancipation Proclamation, this government has created legislation to find a way to continue using laws to oppress black people under the guise of its laws for everybody. They call it convict leasing, peonage, black codes, and it came all the way up to the 80s and 90s with the crack laws. We still sleep. So, you know, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. We have to make sure that we realize that this system that we participating in, yeah, true enough, we can't depend on it totally, but we got to use whatever arm of it that can be used to benefit us. Because we know that system exists. But just having faith in it, complete faith in it, you'd be a fool. But then, you know, I heard the sister talking when she called in, and she said when you brought up Julius Jones that she tried to avoid stuff like that, stay away from stuff like that. You know, and really and truly, we can't afford to. See, if it wasn't for people that didn't like to avoid stuff and like to charge proactive in the thing, the Innocence Project wouldn't exist. Those people would have died, been executed, or still be in prison. But see, somebody didn't want to avoid. They might have had children back home they had to take care of. They had to live their best life and make sure that they were straight. But somebody said, you know what, I got to sacrifice my time because I am aware that there are people in this prison system that have been there for over half of their lives that shouldn't be there. I cannot avoid that. Wow. I cannot, because if we avoid it, then who do they have? So I want to applaud them people from the Innocence Project because they don't look at it that way. We can't afford to avoid that because they could be our child caught up in that system. See, the thing about being proactive and voting, well, I'm going to ask everybody this question. When you vote, do you go and vote for what candidate is out for your best interest? Or do you go and vote for the candidate that's looking out for the least or the most vulnerable people? And it might not even benefit you, like how some black athletes say, well, I'm still voting Democrat because most of the people I grew up with aren't in this high tax bracket. They aren't in the 1%. Yeah, I'm in the 1% now. And I'm the only person out of 150 family members that's in the 1%. Now I'm fixing to start voting Republican because I want to save my money. No, I'm going to vote for the most vulnerable people, the people that I came on, the people that I know. But see, most people do not vote on behalf of the most vulnerable. They only vote on behalf of what benefits them, not me. I vote and support based off of who's the most vulnerable, who needs the most assistance, who's going to look out for the people that need the most representation. I don't vote for just my personal interest. But see, that's one thing we definitely have got to understand. You start talking about a solution. The solution going to be when somebody decides that they don't mind sacrificing and holding off a little bit longer so somebody beneath them can have a little bit more access to health care, a better education. So many different things that we don't care about because we trying to make sure we straight.
Exactly.
A lot of children out here suffering and poor and going without because of the situation their parents in, but it ain't that child's fault. They didn't ask for it. Just like the innocent prisoner. He didn't ask to get put in prison and charged and convicted of crimes he didn't commit. But if everybody else don't want to avoid that, we ain't got time to think about that. That's too negative. I got to go out here and get mine and make sure don't nobody stop me. Well, then when your son is in Julius Jones' position, I hope you voted for somebody a long time ago that would make sure that you could get through to them and help give them some clemency. That's the purpose of being proactive.
Exactly.
When you vote, think about the type of people that went through or what people went through before under this man's, I'm going to say, what would you call it? Administration.
Exactly.
Go and look at all the issues. Don't just look at the taxes. Don't just look at health care. Look at how many people got executed and this man didn't step in. Go and research the case and then decide who you want to vote for. Ask the candidates how they feel about prison reform and executions, death penalties, even though it might not pertain to you.
Exactly. Cassandra? What are some of the solutions?
You know, I just literally agree with we may be looking at things from different perspectives, but I feel like we're all on the same page. We know what needs to be done. My thing is, let's get it done. And we can sit on here and everybody can say what they feel and what they think. But my thing is, we need to be on the ground. We need to be moving. We need to be shaking. We need to be, making that difference. And whatever your way is to help get us to where we need to be, then I'm all for it. And I'll back anybody 100% when they're trying to do something positive for our community. I'm all in. So, we may do it different, but it all boils down to we need to get it done.
And Martin Luther King said back in the day, he said, we may have different ways to get to the top of the mountain, but once we get there, the view is all going to be the same. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Yeah.
I think that most people just need shows like this to explain to them that there's a difference and everybody's responsible. There was never a notion that anyone can do anything by themselves because people fall on hard times.
Yeah.
What are you most concerned about? I think oftentimes, sort of like what Rico said, folks thought the law was great when they had been taught and been under the impression it's so great because they're not getting the brunt of that government. Oh yeah, we'll go for this because we know it don't apply to us the same way.
Exactly.
See, that's understood between some people. Oh, that law don't really apply to us. That's what critical race theory teaches. And that's a sickness that we have that we must be against. So it's going to be, what side are you on?
Where do you stand?
The notion of everybody all together holding hands up, no, that's not how this thing goes.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. That's good. Mimi, you had something on your heart?
Yes, I have one more thing to say because I did listen to the gentleman, and I was over here walking around in circles, like, okay, I need to get back in so I could say something really, really quick.
Okay.
Because it is not so much about staying away from the things that are happening out here, like especially in the case of Mr. Jones, because that hits home. And it hits home because I myself have a daughter that's in prison 7 years now for a crime that she did not commit. So we are fighting, one, to get her home. I have a brother that's actually in prison for one of the very same type reasons when it comes to drug relations and, you know, something that you don't think that he would be in there for 28 years, like he blew up a building, but somebody that killed 10 people might be out in 10 years just because. So it's all dependent on how it is that you're looking at it. Then I was listening to my lady talking about mental illness. And I have a brother that committed suicide in 2016 after he was released from jail over a weekend, and we still don't know whatever happened. So to say the very least, all of this hits home. I am one in the thousands that's like, okay, what do we need to do to make things happen? And I'm always trying to put myself in a place where, one, I can get with some of these organizations to see what they're all doing. But like I've heard, folks want to step out, but they don't want to step out. I wish that I could step out and scream to the world, but I would be the Malcolm X of it all. Somebody would put me down because I say too much. And when I do say things, people listen. So I am like one of these people that have to be careful with what I say and how I say it. And if I have the masses behind me to say, Mimi, I got you, let's go forward, let's make a movement, let's make it happen, I am all for it, all the way for it. My thing is, I need to get my baby girl home so I can show out like I need to show out, because I myself went to school for criminal justice. I have a year left for my criminal justice degree just because I really wanted to get in the meat of the system to see how the system really supposed to go versus how it's going. So that I can go after the people that I need to go after, even if I have to do this myself.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
make things happen so I can first get my daughter home, second, get my brother home, you know, thirdly, get my mom out of the hospital she's in right now. So to say the very least, the weight is on my shoulders, but I still pray to God and I keep moving forward because I am the backbone of my family. And I'm the backbone of a lot of people and the voice of a lot of people. But I stay in the background just because when Mimi says something, it's the, okay, where she's staying, who she living with, where she living, we coming after her. So yes, I'm the Malcolm X of it all. But kudos to all, you know, one love and God bless. And thank you so much for having me on the show on today.
Hey, thank you for coming. And you're more than welcome to come back. We're here every day, Monday through Friday. We are every day, Monday through Friday from 7 until 10. So you're more than welcome. So come on back and join us. Who we got here? Let's go to Captain. We just visited Leonard. Let's go to Badger. Badger, you hadn't said anything in a minute. What's on your heart, brother?
Same thing as before, man. People need to just get off their tail end, grow up, Learn what it's like to be a human being and help other human beings. And quit being controlled by these power-hungry, egocentric folks that use everything from the Bible to control us and separate us, to laws, to money, to greed. I get up on a soapbox on this because I've seen it for a long time. I've seen it through my ancestry. I've seen it in other people's ancestry. It is a problem that's been around for over 1,000 years. This is not a overnight change. It's not going to change until we actually, as human beings, come together to fight the greater evil. It's as simple as that. People need to wake up and quit thinking just because I'm this or that, it's not my problem. That's nonsense. If it's affecting another human being, do what is right, not what is selfish.
Exactly. We got 4 minutes. I'm gonna try to touch as many people as I can. So everybody, give me a real brief synopsis of what you're saying here. Goddess, what's on your heart?
I think that one, we should start with trying to get together a community, whether it's right there in the community or a national, some type of program where we're able to work toward, dang, the word just came out of qualified immunity, getting that removed in each state. That is imperative. Stop a lot of police killings, stop a lot of that. Qualified immunity needs to be pushed. We thought it was on the books. I don't know what happened. I haven't kept up, but we need to get that pushed per state if we can.
Absolutely.
That's one. The other thing is that I'm hearing my sister speak, and we have a group that kind of oversees different cases that we kind of run through and kind of see, well, okay, well, this was done, and this was done.
So we got to do your quick version, guys. I got to touch some more people.
Overturned.
Okay, give me your quick.
So that's something I think that might be key. I don't know.
Good deal. Everybody, give me your quick version. I'm going to touch as many people as I can before we get out of here. Rico.
Yeah, I'm glad sister came in and clarified that she was going through with her daughter and her brothers and everything. That's huge. And I think that's something that needs to be understood, that if you are in this country of the United States, you can always find some injustice. Don't just live over here and think that we just got it good. We ain't got it good. You might have it good, but somebody next door to you or somebody in another community is going through something that you may be able to affect positively with your vote. But it's all a human thing. This is the human race thing. Even if you get past American, but just being in America, we have to understand that we need to be proactive and we need to participate for true equal justice.
Exactly. Leonard?
You did not get a chance to hear the show in this Log on to www.dkmmediagroup.com at 3 o'clock Eastern today.
Absolutely. Cassandra?
And amen to that.
Okay. What you saying, amen? I'm going to go ahead and let you pray us out, Cassandra. Pray us out, sis.
Father, we thank you today for everything that has been said and done. We ask you, God, to cover those that are under the sound of my voice, God. We ask you to strengthen us, continue to give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of the things that we are of our communities, God, our state, our country, and even our world, God. We just honor you for DKM Radio, for all that it represents, God, and for all that it is trying to do to bring clarity and understanding to the things that are happening in our society. Now we ask you to continue to bless us, to strengthen us. These and all other blessings we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. It's been a great broadcast. Anybody got anything real quickly before we get out of here?
Hey, I want to say this real fast. I'm just going to make another point. Everybody was talking about the injustice, and it was good that Bishop called in and spoke from the aspect of a policeman. You know, when he said that he actually even noticed back when he was on the beat that he was arresting people for the same things, but they were being, you know, given different times, you know, or sentences or whatever. And that's another thing we need to look at. You know, when we are going out here voting, look at some of the sentencing disparities. I just posted maybe 3 days ago down here, this guy got killed down the street from me, a black man, and they found out it was a white man killed. He got a $45,000 bond. The next day, another black man got arrested for conspiracy to distribute cocaine, $300,000 bond.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
But this man, the day before, got a $45,000 bond for coming in a black man's house, killing him and leaving him in there. $45,000. I mean, $4,500. He can walk free.
Walk free.
And the trial I'm fixing to go to now. A lot of people in the uproar because this boy coming and going as he pleads from the defense box. While we looking at pictures of this man dead in his front yard, man, I'm stained from that memory I saw yesterday. So, you know, it's good. We got to be very proactive, even though everything may be good, going good in our lives. We need to be proactive just for the justice of humanity.
Exactly. And on that note, man, we got to get on out of here, man. It's been a great broadcast.
I like that saying. Can you repeat that saying one more time?
Now how you gonna just jump in there like that, God? We trying to end it.
I know. I just got to hear it one more time.
How you gonna just jump in there like that? Now, what they do that at? Rico, she want to hear that saying one more time, brother.
Man, I forgot what I was saying. I'll be freestyling.
There you go. Look at you got.
I'll tell you what I said. Y'all got to go back and rewind it.
Exactly.
Go back and listen to the broadcast, like Leonard said.
Go back and listen to the broadcast. You'll hear it again. I guarantee you it's on there. If you listen to the broadcast again, I promise you it's on there. I promise you. Yes, I do. I promise you. Listen, it's been a great broadcast. I want to thank everybody for joining us. More than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and associates of being a part of your day. It is now 10:03, about to exit the morning glow. But before you go, I want you to do me 2 favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we are certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number 2, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you can do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. And if you get an opportunity, give somebody some love. You just might find some love in return. Hello, it's Bunny Baby. Hey, it's Bunny Baby. I didn't get a chance to speak to you earlier. Good morning to you. Y'all have a great day. Take care of each other and be blessed.